ECU? Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in to Hoist the Colors on a Monday. It is game week for the Military Bowl in Annapolis, Maryland. This Saturday, 11 a.m. will be the kickoff time between the Pirates and Panthers. We'll get into that and a whole lot more. We're going to have an exciting show in a few minutes. We're going to introduce Brett Hickman, who was a part of the Hoist the Colors podcast for years, now the Division II coordinator for Anderson University in South Carolina. We'll get to him and a whole lot more. On Brett, he wanted to weigh in on several hot topics, so we'll get to him in a second. Scott Rogers is back in town for Christmas. He's actually on a mission right now at ECU football practice, and I say that because Philip and I would have had to go, and we would have had to record the show early, but Scott Rogers stepped in. He is interviewing Blake Carroll, I believe, as we speak, as part of a media contingent. So we'll have the latest for you there later in the show when Scott joins us, and we'll get into maybe some NFL as Phillips Panthers win on the gridiron in a big game Sunday. All right, let's introduce our guest for segment one, though. If you are familiar with the Hoist the Colors podcast, you know him well. Brett Hickman, ECU alum, former staffer, now the DC at Anderson University. Brett, first off, welcome back to the Hoist the Colors airwaves. It's been a while, man, but catch up folks on what you're doing these days.
Well, right now I'm in Nebraska, about an hour west of Omaha, where I hope the Pirates get the Pilgrim one day. My brother-in-law, also an East Carolina alum, lives out here, so we're visiting he and his family for the holidays, and heading back home to Anderson here tomorrow on a flight. But things are good, man. Just coaching a little ball up at a startup program at Anderson, South Carolina. We're in our second season down there, and things have been good. We've gotten that thing off the ground and getting better every day.
Really have enjoyed following you guys, Brett, with the program there. Y'all have done some pretty amazing things already, and encourage folks to check that out. Again, Anderson University in South Carolina. Brett, the DC there. And, hey, you're on my hot board for ECU defensive coordinator, so I don't know if you've had any talks with Blake Carroll, but I just wanted to make sure people know how good you've been at that role. But I did want to get your take before we dive into this whole college football playoff group of five discussion, which I know there's a lot of talking points to hit there. Just your thoughts on what Blake Carroll has done with ECU. Obviously some turnover. It's a tough time in college athletics for everybody, but your thoughts on the Pirates coming off an 8-4 season, getting ready for the Military Bowl.
Yeah, I think as an alum, I speak for a lot of people when you talk about how fired up we are to view what Blake's done in short order here, really just being the head coach for a year and a half and being on the other side of 14 or 15 wins. And I don't know, unless you're in it, if you really can recognize how hard it is right now at any level of college football, just because there's very little roster sustainability from year to year. And, I think it used to be, you need to see what the guy can do after 2 or 3 recruiting classes. I think right now you have a little bit better gauge on if it's going to work early. And he did a great job, obviously, taking over for Coach Houston in the middle of the year and then putting some pieces out there on the field this year. Obviously, the team was much better on defense than I think a lot of people initially expected, and the offense has continued to get better over the course of the last year and a half. And on the other side of 8 wins and another bowl game, and really this year, I think, say for the fourth quarter of the BYU game and the UTSA game, the Pirates have been highly competitive and had a chance to win most Saturdays this fall.
All right, we're visiting with Brett Hickman. He is the defensive coordinator at Anderson University in South Carolina. All right, so Brett, me and you text just about ball a lot. At the end of the day, we're in this business because we love football and we love the game and the opportunities it brings so many. But it just kind of a confounding weekend in terms of just all the takes on how the college football playoff played out. You look at the results, obviously. We kind of said going in on Friday, we just really wanted one of these games to be competitive for the group of five. James Madison goes to Oregon, loses 51-34. The game really wasn't that close. Ole Miss goes to host Tulane. They win 41-10 over the Green Wave in that rematch. So there's been a lot of out there. Hey, the group of five doesn't deserve a spot. All of that. I have very mixed emotions about it. I think you can't just eliminate half of college football and don't give them a seat at the table at all. So, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I know we've been texting back and forth, and you have many thoughts on it. So I'll let you kick it off. We can delve into it from there, but what were your initial thoughts on all this?
Well, I don't think anybody doubts that if you put Notre Dame in the field over JMU and Tulane, that you're going to get a better chance in a more competitive game. That's not to say blowouts haven't happened when it's two Power Fives. I think we'd all be crazy to say that. But I always kind of argue against that. The NCAA basketball tournament is the best postseason in all of sports and has been for 50 years. And nobody gets mad when Mount St. Mary's or Gardner-Webb or USC Upstate or some other Q4, whatever the new term is, low major, the mid-major team gets in over, say, last year, I believe the first team out was West Virginia, right? And if West Virginia plays those teams, they probably beat them 10 out of 11 times. So at some point, you have to understand that the mid-major / low major group of six, whatever, deserves at least one seat at the table. Now, I do believe as a result of everything that happened this year with the ACC tiebreaker issue, with Duke stealing a spot, or Duke basically costing the ACC the championship spot, they've let Miami in result of that. And, of course, Virginia was going instead of Texas or Notre Dame either anyway, right? So you have that issue. And what we've had is, Stephen, we've had a 35-year slow build to this process where conference amalgamation, consolidation, and now expansion has taken over the college football that existed when I was a child. So in the late 80s, you had conferences that were considered major conferences and a big set of independents that were playing major college football that just doesn't exist anymore, right? It was just in this part of the country, you had a large section of independents, Florida State, Penn State, Miami, East Carolina, South Carolina, back in the day before all of these places started going there. And then you had, of course, the formation of the Big East, which took Miami and Virginia Tech kind of out of that independent deal. You had the death of the Southwest Conference, where four of those teams kind of got left out. And you had kind of the building of the Super Conference with the Big 12, with the Southwest Conference combining. And so you take away the independents, you take away the Southwest Conference, you take away the Big East when the ACC took it over, and then kind of more recently, the Big Ten kind of killing the Pac-12, if you will. So you've had that 35-year-old slow build that happened from the mid-'80s all the way up until 2020, 2021, and now you've got kind of, okay, we're done killing it slowly. We're going hard in on the death of what we would call G6 football now, which is obviously NIL and more freedom of movement through the transfer portal. So the chasm of the talent levels is getting wider and wider per year. And the problem is that the Tulanes and the Memphises and the East Carolinas and the UTSAs and the USFs, those schools, and the Boise State is a great example of programs who are stretching themselves thin, trying to play at a big boy level, but they have no chance at long-term sustainability at the highest level because of the financial chasm that exists, which through TV revenue, through rev share, whatever it's going to be. So, yes, I don't think you can get rid of a spot, but right now, as it's set up, I just don't see a way where a G5 can actually go in and do what BYU did in 1984, which is win a national championship. Maybe 1 out of 10 years, the G5 team wins a road game at an SEC or a Big Ten power. I think the real answer is to do what the Utahs and the TCUs and those teams have done, which is kind of tear down the gates one team at a time, if that makes sense. So, I've shared my thoughts on what the reality is, and what is not fair is, yes, you have Ohio State, you have Michigan, you have Texas, the Floridas, the Georgias, they're carrying their weight for the business. But you've got a lot of dead weight at the bottom of these people or conferences that are not investing relative to their financials the way that the top of the G5 is, and those schools are reaping benefits without doing anything good for college football, which is where my problem is. I still think the perfect situation is to take on the European Premier League, the English Premier League model of promotion and relegation, and the G6 teams. Let's just take Boise State last year. Boise State, as the G6 representative, or G5 representative last year, if they would have gotten promoted this year to play in the Big 10 or Big 12 or whatever it is, they're staying there, right? That team they had this year is probably winning 7 or 8 games. They're not getting relegated back down. And the Rutgers and the Boston Colleges of the world will get serious about football, or they're going to end up playing G6. And if every year you have a G6 national champion that has a chance to move up and stay there, then you have sustainability for programs that have properly invested in football. But that might be a pipe dream. I know we've got, right now, they've got to continue to fight for the G5, the G6, whatever it is, and they've got to continue to fight for that spot. And I don't think it'll ever be avoided, because if you remember, the BCS had all kinds of issues back in the day with antitrust and lawsuits and those things. But I do think they'll make sure this system that's in place after this weekend, that we won't see two G5 representatives in the playoff anymore. I'm pretty sure they're going to try and do away with that.
Yeah, I think I'd be very surprised if it continues. I do think, as far as, John Gilbert, we had him in studio last week, he thinks the group of 5 will always have one seat at the table. I do agree with you. Yeah. And it sounds like paperwork has already been signed that going forward, Notre Dame will get an automatic bid at their top 12. The ACC and Big 12, SEC, and Big 10 champions will all get an automatic bid as well going forward. So I do think we just won't see this scenario again where you have 2 in. I think we'll see 1. Look, I'd be all for a promotion relegation, Brett. And I think, honestly, could you imagine, I was talking with Philip, our producer pre-show, ECU versus Memphis for the national title, winner gets to go to the Big 12 or ACC. I mean, it'd be incredible TV. It'd be incredible entertainment, which is where this thing is heading. It's all about entertainment, TV dollars. But I just don't know if, I would have to look into the layers of how feasible it is. And that the Boston colleges, the Purdues, the Rutgers, they would not want to give those teams that opportunity, nor themselves the opportunity to be relegated. That's the biggest problem I have with it. But I would love the idea in theory.
My argument against that is that there's nothing that's keeping Ohio State and Michigan and Florida and Georgia and LSU from creating their own 25-team Super League. So the Boston colleges and the Rutgers, under the system that I think would be perfect for everybody, would be better off having a chance to be relegated versus being squeezed out completely. We're not far away from a situation where we're going to have 40 of the biggest brands in the SEC, Big 10, maybe a couple of the schools in the ACC, the Florida States and the Clemsons, and the national brands that are in the Power 2, plus the extra parts of the ACC getting creating their own Super League, which is going to squeeze out the bottom of the Power 5 in general. So, what do we do? What's best for all 136 programs where there's upward mobility versus, is this going to be just essentially the NFL version of education-based athletics, which is right now, I think if Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti had their druthers, it would just be a Big 10 and SEC invitational. And I understand that. Is it greedy? Yes, but they're doing their job for their schools and their clients. So it's a dangerous time, and you combine all of it with the money that's at stake. The continued focus on pay-for-play and freedom of movement, you're going to see a pretty large chasm if it's not there from not only just a talent perspective, but you're never going to be able to see. I mean, you're already seeing it at the G5 level. Nobody in the American is keeping their best players that have eligibility there. It's just not happening. So, it is a scary time. I'm not so sure, looking at it from afar and not being involved in it, at the G5 and the FCS levels is not the worst. I think they might be the worst spot to be a football coach right now, because you can't hold on to the top of your roster because of getting poached. And the old develop the high school guy and wait for 3 years, that's not happening, because they all have a lower level they can go play. So a kid at ECU who came in and he looks like he might be on the depth chart and in the 2 deep by the time he's a junior, that kid's not going to wait. He's going to go play in Conference USA, or he's going to go play in the Southern Conference. The same thing with SoCon. Those kids are coming to us now at the Division II level. So it's just a scary time, because you can't retain and you can't develop, which is a coach's nightmare.
Visit with Brett Hickman, ECU alum, also the DC at Anderson. Longtime contributor of Hoist the Colors. Our visits with him a little less frequent now because, hey, he's coordinating a college football defense, doing a great job. I appreciate Brett carving out some time this morning. My thing with Brett is, or this afternoon, excuse me, is with fans, like, as a fan of a sports program, you just want some hope. Whether it's realistic or not, you want that little morsel of hope. Hey, we're ECU. If all the stars align right, we can make the college football playoff. Now, I don't, as you see or as you foresee it, as I do as well, I don't think a program like East Carolina under the current system could ever win a national championship in football. It just, the odds are so stacked against you in many ways. But is it worth holding on to that ounce of hope, even though, like, reality says it's going to take a special circumstance, like a Cincinnati, whatever year under Fickle, they went undefeated 2 years in a row, made the top 4. And I would say, how realistic is that in this era, too, to happen? I don't know. But is it worth holding out that hope and dealing with maybe some of these blowouts in the meantime and continue on this path if we can't get that, relegation promotion system?
Well, you've unequivocally got to try your best to hold on to the spot as it exists right now. Now, if I thought there was some possibility to be promoted to being a have versus a have not, I don't think. I think the G5 would get together and say, yeah, if we're going to be able to send one team up a year to get into that, to actually have the resources, to actually have the financial feasibility to do what Cincinnati's done, to do what Utah's done, which is work their way over time into major college football, then it might be worth giving up the spot. But as the system exists now, you don't do that. You can't. But it's really sad, because the system is just such in place where you're basically, the ceiling of your year is to go play a road game. So the best Q6 team is not getting a bowl game. They're not going to do this, because that happened last year, right? Boise State, because of the top conference championship rules, got a bye. They got to go to the Fiesta Bowl. Under the current system, that would not happen. So now Tulane and JMU, they're not getting to go to a major bowl game. They're playing a road game with inferior talent. So great system, but you've got to hold on to it, because that's what you have right now. The only way you give it up is there a chance for every year to have a definite possibility to move up into the Big 12 or the ACC. I don't see the SEC or the Big 10 going for it, but how much of a difference is there yearly between what is going on with, how does Boise State do in the Big 12 this year? I think they're a pretty competitive team. Now, do they win it? No, they're not as good as Texas Tech, but that team can go and they can beat Arizona 5 out of 10 times. They can go and beat Colorado 8 out of 10 times. So they're not getting relegated. And then over the course of 10 years, Boise State is now a half. And but again, who knows? Maybe it's a pipe dream. But there's lawyers involved, and it's just a sad circumstance right now. But you got to make the best of the situation. The best coaches over the course of 200 years of playing college football, or whatever it's been right now, 160 years, have always been great adapters. And that's the challenge for Blake and every other coach at the G6 level, is to try and adapt to the current system and make the most of it as it exists. I think the thing that scares you about the Cincinnati model, when they got in the 14 playoff, is if teams continue to play more and more conference games, they're going to squeeze out the East Carolinas, the South Floridas of the world. They're just not going to play them, which makes it really hard from a schedule standpoint to do what Cincinnati did, or to do what I think the year Houston made the Peach Bowl. They played 2 P5 games at a conference when they were in the American. So as they continue to play more and more conference games, the less and less you're going to see East Carolina, Virginia Tech, East Carolina, Wake Forest, East Carolina, NC State, East Carolina, North Carolina. Those games are just not happening because as from that perspective, they got everything to lose and nothing to gain. So certainly not a perfect scenario or situation.
Yeah, I was going to ask Brett. Final thing for you. It keeps going back to the system. Again, I don't necessarily blame the players for transferring during all this and taking advantage of the system. It's just broken from top to bottom. But it's just, I mean, the group of 5 players, for lack of a better term, I don't even like using that term, but it just, it is what it is. Those top players are good enough for the P4 to come poach, and clearly there's talent there, and it works down the line too. Same thing with FCS, same thing down to your level of D2 as well. But those schools are scared to come play at an ECU because they know they very could well lose and ruin their season, so to speak. But it just seems like there's no way to get any power back if you're an ECU because those schools just aren't going to schedule you. You're going to lose some of your top players due to the financial reasons, and ultimately, I don't know. It's just set up to be extremely difficult for ECU. So my question is the only way to reverse it is to somehow take it to court? If you're Tim Pernetti, the American Conference Commissioner, get your best lawyers together and go fight this thing. I think either it heads down that path or there's ultimately a split. It just seems like it's unfixable without taking it to that level of action.
Well, the entire system, not just the U5 versus P5 argument or P4 argument, the entire system has got to be taken to court, and there's got to be legislation involved. The first thing we've got to do, from a perspective of college football, from Ohio State down to Methodist, which is a D3 school there in Fayetteville, is we got to get some legislation. And if you're going to opt into red share and you're going to opt into NIL and paper play, we've got to get some collective bargaining involved. Because right now you've got the Major League Baseball model of nobody has a salary cap, right? And teams can go spend exactly what they want. This whole we were supposed to start turning NIL into this condition. That's a farce. That's not happening. So, we've got the LA Dodgers playing in Columbus, Ohio, and we've got, the Kansas City Royals playing all over the G5. And you might pop up and you might beat them 1 out of 100 times, but over the course of a 163-game season or a 12-game football season, the team that's got the better player that you've bought are going to win. So we've got to get the paper play under wraps. We've got to get real agents involved because that is a major issue. I'm sure if you talked to Blake and you gave him truth to him, he would tell you, you're dealing with a type of person, not across the board, but you've got plenty of non-professional guys steering kids the wrong way or trying to bleed you dry or whatever and not understanding what market value is. So we've got to get legislation there. We've got to get a salary cap involved. And then you've got to get the G6 is going to have to band together and they're going to have to get in court the way Utah did years ago, which was basically suing the BCS and basically sued their way into making sure there was an automatic bid for the G6, which is why I think the system as it's set up right now with just one automatic G6 bid is really that's how the powers that be think they can keep their way out of getting sued without there being a real threat of new schools storming the gates, so to speak.
All right, he is Brett Hickman. Brett, we got to get out of here, get a break in, man, but appreciate the time, and we'll connect again. Best of luck down at Anderson as you guys head into the spring semester and everything, man, but I appreciate it as always, and good to hear from you.
All right, Stephen, Merry Christmas to you guys and Pirate Nation.
You too, man. Merry Christmas, Brett. All right, we'll get a break in. We'll come back. We will have a shorter segment, too. We got to get back on track as far as time, but appreciate Brett wanting to keep that conversation going as long as possible. We'll be right back.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Pirates play here.
Time to play the game!
This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors. It'll be a short segment here, a real short segment. We got to get back on track with our breaks. We went long, segment 1 with Brett Hickman, but we'll circle back to that conversation, segments 3 and 4. We're awaiting the arrival of Scott Rogers. He's been stuck at ECU football practice. He may not make it, Philip Pilkington producing today. He's learning firsthand how fickle these press conference times can be, Philip. So TBD if Scott Rogers makes it.
Well, I appreciate Scooter because it, had we gone to the press conference, full disclosure, obviously we had to tape the show about 10:30. I drove back from Charlotte this morning, so it was about an extra hour and a half of sleep thanks to Scooter.
Yeah, he came through in a big way. Appreciate you, Scooter. If you can make it, that'll be great. If not, oh well. All right, quick picks here. Or a quick pick. Washington State is taking on Utah State. We're picking every bowl game for better or worse. In the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Washington State without a head coach. Utah State has Bronco Mendenhall. They are a 2.5-point favorite. I think me, you, and Bobby all going Aggies here.
Yep.
So we are going to roll with Utah State. Also, just want to address a question in the chat or a comment from our guy, Davy Jones. He says, how about the butt whipping the Jaguars gave to the Broncos yesterday? You going to talk about that? I'll talk about it, David Jones. Yeah, my team went 3 months without losing a football game. So, I mean, it was bound to happen, Davy. Who do you root for? Let me know so I can give you some crap. I also did congratulate Jansen Kidd immediately on Twitter. I got an email from another Jaguars and ECU fan as well who got my email a few years ago and dropped the inbox as soon as the game ended. But I am, look, congrats to the Jaguars. They came in, kicked Denver's tail. They are a really good football team. And honestly, Trevor Lawrence is playing at a high level right now. So I was extremely impressed by the Jaguars, and I think they're legit. I think they are a legit threat to make the Super Bowl. I mean, the AFC is wide open. I still think Buffalo is the favorite, just given Josh Allen's status. But it's going to be a fun playoffs and a lot to get to. As John Moody also wants to congratulate you, Philip, and the Panthers fans. It was a heck of a first NFL game in person. I guess that was his first time going in person to the Panthers game.
That's awesome, John. I'm glad you got to enjoy that. It was a heck of a first game. Thank you for the congratulations. And, yeah, man, it was a great opportunity. I will say, walking out of the stadium, though, I honestly was not that happy. I was really ticked off.
Why?
It was like we should have just clinched playoff berth, but we couldn't beat the stupid Saints. All you had to do was beat the Saints. And I know I should have been enjoying it, but I was honestly like kind of just dumbfounded that they haven't made the playoffs yet. But, hey, a lot of work to get done, and if we can get a win next week and believe in Quinn Ewers, we won't even have to worry about Week 18.
Here's the good thing. The Panthers have guaranteed themselves an entire regular season of relevant, meaningful football.
That is true. No matter what happens this weekend, we are still in it Week 18.
18 weeks of relevant football, baby. I mean, that's a good bar first bar to set, you know?
It is. It's a good week. And then even I think if you win this upcoming week, which I probably won't beat Seattle, you lose the following week, yeah, it would stink. But to have 9 wins, to be above 500 would be big.
So Panthers are making some waves. And, hey, now that we're all getting high on them, we really need them to lose to the Seahawks. And then that way nobody expects them to win in Tampa, and then they pull the upset to go to the playoffs. All right, let's get a break in. We'll get back on track. We'll try to check in, see what Scooter is up to at practice. I've got some notes from practice as well. We'll get into that. Also want to circle back towards the playoff rhetoric discussion coming out of the weekend. We'll hit all that after these messages.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
We're live with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
back in. Hoist the Colors here on a Monday. We are back and talking a little bit of everything. Let's continue. Philip Hilton and Peterson, should we
We'll do your practice report,
okay.
I think, first.
Let's do that, and then we'll get into this edition of the playoff. All right, so I was out of practice this morning. By the way, we got the full VIP report up on Hoist the Colors, 50% off. We haven't had any practice access really since the season ended. So I was just curious, man, like who is even out there? Is the team going to look the same? Are the Pirates the Pirates? And in many ways they are. Still a lot of energy. By the way, the whole offensive coaching staff, we speculated on that under John David Baker. Those guys still at practice. Tyrell Roberts, Rodney Freeman, Hunter McKay, Matt Maddox. A lot of the same personnel. Your big names that haven't entered the portal yet were all there except for one potential opt-out. London Montgomery, not at practice. So I'm not expecting him to play in the bowl game. Of course, if you're unaware of what was going on, the team went home for Christmas break, came back. Sounds like London either stayed back, so I would expect him to hit the portal. But, I mean, let's be real. London Montgomery, really good running back. I mean, running back probably the easiest position to replace. I think he is your number one, but you have Marlon Gunn, you've got TJ Engelman, you've got Parker Jenkins. So I'm not as concerned about that, but that was a development. Other big names, offensive line's intact. Jamarly Riddle's out there. Desirio Riles is out there. Of course, you had Javante Connor, who opted out, entered the portal, along with some other guys, including Caden Hauser and Yannick Smith, but everybody else accounted for. So the main thing I was impressed with, Philip, is the energy. You just see all the negative news, and you kind of go out there just expecting everybody to be kind of down, but the guys were juiced up, man. The offensive coaching staff, many of which probably don't know exactly where their next job is, they were bringing the juice, so I was impressed. It gave me a little bit more optimism going into Saturday. I'm still going to pick Pittsburgh. Gosh, that's a tongue twister. I'm still going to pick the Panthers, but I feel a little bit better about ECU after watching practice.
Well, the reason there's been all the negative news is because nobody's been out there to report the positive news. And there's always speculations, and we just kind of go off the vibe when you're outside. But until you get on the inside and see what's truly going on, how can you know? How can I know? How can any of the fans know? Well, now, Steven, you were at practice today. And this is the first time, we didn't have a coach's show last week. We didn't get a chance to talk to Blake Carroll. So, hey, you know what? This is the truth. Everything else has been speculation. The truth is they're juiced. The truth is sounds like pretty much everybody's going to play in the bowl game, other than the guys who've already left. So you know what? At the end of the day, the glass is looking, I guess, at least half full, and we'll see what happens. Like, these guys, this culture that Blake has built is not a culture of poor us, of the victim. They're the guys who go out and want to write their own story. And that's why you recruit guys like Mike Wright. And when I say like him, I don't mean his play on the field. I mean his attitude. That's why you recruit, guys like Tegan Wilk to come back to your program because of his attitude. And that's why this team, they're going to go up there and they're not going to roll over. Are they going to win? Maybe. Maybe not. Are they going to roll over? No.
I think that's very well said. I expect the Pirates to bring some juice and maybe some interesting plays to Annapolis, Maryland, but we'll see what happens as we get closer to the December 27th kickoff. All right, we'll wait for Scooter to see if Blake Harrell had anything interesting to say after practice. Now, get some questions in the chat. How many quarterbacks are in the transfer portal thus far? Kenny Curlins wants to know. Cole says that 123 quarterbacks are in the portal per the 24/7 Sports website. And Caden Hauser is ranked. Where do you think Caden Hauser is ranked, Philip? They've given all these transfers a rating. I shouldn't say all, but the significant ones. Where do you think Caden Hauser comes in on this list of 127 quarterbacks?
I think he quizzed me the other day, and it was like 9, but Mestamaker not entered yet, so I'm guessing he's like 10 or 11.
10. He is 10. Good. Did we talk about that on the air?
No, you quizzed me at like lunch or something.
That's right. So Caden's 10th, and I did see a report this morning that Byron Brown's going into the portal, so I would expect Caden to be 11th as the USF quarterback is
Scooter's stuck in traffic. Hey, Scooter, Greenville traffic stinks.
What do you expect, man? Everybody's out doing their last-minute Christmas shopping.
This town, there's people out during the day, during the week when it's not Christmas time. I swear nobody has an 8 to 5 job. I mean, I know I'm driving around, but I don't have an 8 to 5 job.
If you ever wonder why I record at home sometimes, it's because I don't want to drive across town and deal with every single stoplight being red for 5 minutes. I mean, it's brutal, man.
Arlington is a rough drive, and that's your whole...
It's the whole drive. It's terrible. But I'm here today, and I'll be here tomorrow, which, by the way, programming note, awkward week, obviously, with Christmas, so, and the bowl game. We will do tomorrow's show live, Tuesday at 12 noon. We will do the second... We'll do a Friday show as well. So we're taking Wednesday and Thursday off, obviously, for Christmas Eve and Christmas. Now, full disclosure, we're going to record the Friday show on Tuesday afternoon. So we will not be taking live comments. Will we debut it live on Friday at 12 noon, Philip?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. So just be prepared. Bobby Harward will record with us. I'll be driving up to Annapolis after some family stuff, and obviously these guys will be doing some stuff as well for Christmas. But we will have a show Friday taking you into the Military Bowl, and then next week we will do a show Monday and Tuesday, and then take the rest of the week off. So that is our plan for content over the next week plus. I tell you what, you want to go ahead and get our final break in, then we'll come back.
Yeah.
We'll see if Scooter can make it into town or into the studio without wrecking, and we'll also get more into the college football playoff discussion. This is Hoist the Colors on a Monday.
Don't miss year-end deals during the season of giving at Greenville Toyota. Drive a new Camry, just $229 a month, $229 a month, or new RAV4, $279 a month, $279 a month. Hurry in for the season of giving at Greenville Toyota.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
The season of giving is here at Greenville Toyota. Unwrap a new Corolla, $159 a month, $159 a month. Or new Tacoma, $219 a month, $219 a month. Don't miss the season of giving with year-end deals at Greenville Toyota.
Gold with the purple and golds.
Yo ho ho!
And we're back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Final 10 minutes of the show or so. Scott Rogers may or may not join us. He's on the way in. Either way, we appreciate his time going out to football practice. Philip Pilkington is with us as well, producing. Now, we visited with Brett Hickman earlier. We talked about kind of his idea, and I would love to see it, is promotion relegation, kind of like European soccer. Now, will it ever come to pass? Probably not, but I think it would be fascinating. The other aspect of this past weekend's college football playoff is now there is this big media push to keep the group of five out of the playoff just because of the results of these two games. And on one hand, I can somewhat understand it. On the other hand, I think there's a clear argument against it. You don't want to just cancel out half of college football. I do find it interesting that most of these arguments are coming from alumni that did not attend schools in said group of five. So I think there's a lot of bias here. But either way, I'm just disappointed that there's less thought being put into it than just, hey, like these games suck. Let's keep the group of five out. Like there haven't been blowouts in other years, Power 4 versus Power 4. So I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. I don't understand why we just can't have a fair discussion around both sides. I agree. Like going on the road to a Power 4 school, you're going to be at a massive disadvantage as a group of five team. But like you still want inclusion. You still want a shot at the big dance. And the other thing, Philip, I don't think this was a great year for the group of five either. Like the teams, Tulane was not that good to me. They could compete in the trenches. I didn't love their skill talent this year. And then JMU, the Sun Belt to me is not that good either. So I feel like we're going to hopefully get better representation from maybe a more dominant G5 team in the years to come.
Yeah, no, I agree. And hey, Scooter, thank you.
Scooter has arrived.
Yeah. Look, that Boise team from last year was solid. I mean, they were really good in the trenches, and they could run the ball well. If they had competent quarterback play, there's a good chance they win that game. If Rippon or if Kellen Moore is still there, but Maddox Matson's terrible. As far as Tulane, Tulane kind of hung in there, but it was like weird fluky plays. Like the score wasn't close, but I really thought like down in and down out they hung in there. But yeah, to your point, Stephen, I understand everybody's frustration, but I see this going to a place where they're going to say, yes, the group of five, you get a spot, but you got to be ranked inside the top 12. We're not going to automatically give you a spot. They're probably going to just say, hey, last year's Boise team, they get in. The Central Florida team that claimed to be a national champion, team like that gets in. Cincinnati from those 2 years, one of which got in the college football playoff, one of which didn't, they get in. I just don't see, an automatic, seat at the table, I guess. Hey, Scooter.
Then they'll just rank them 13th.
They will.
Is this working? It is working.
I can hear you. Scooter.
We're here.
Should the group of five be eliminated from the playoffs?
No. There should automatically be the highest ranked group of five conference champion in.
I think like I said, I like the 2014 model the FCS runs with. Let them all in. If Bradley and Gardner-Webb and UC Santa Barbara can play in the basketball tournament.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Bradley in the college football playoff.
No, if they can play in the basketball tournament, why can't Western Michigan, Tulane, Boise State, and James Madison, and I'm leaving one out, whoever won Kennesaw State, all win the.
You're not leaving East Carolina out of the basketball tournament.
If it goes to that route, which maybe it will one day, that many teams, but like a benefit of, if people can say those teams should never make it in because they'll never compete, a benefit of being a 4th seed, 3 seed, whatever, is to face an easy first round opponent. So like that's part of the FCS model. Most of those games are blowouts. Now this year you had some upsets, but more times than not, like the benefit of being the number 5 seed in this model is you get the 12th seeded James Madison, as Oregon did. So,
and the FCS playoffs are fun to watch in the ball they have.
So I look, I don't know what direction it's going. I don't think, unless there's just a total break off from the SEC Big Ten, which may be coming, then those teams will have their own exclusive playoff. But I just don't see litigation wise too how they can just shut the G5 out. So, anyways, Scooter, you got like 5 minutes.
I know.
How was the press conference with Blake Harrell?
It was good. Went about 10 minutes or so, but some good good stuff. Went into kind of the quarterback situation right now, and he dropped a line that could have 3 quarterbacks play at some point in that game. But kind of the vibe I got was Chaston Ditta's kind of getting the main looks right now. But, he straight up said there's been no decision or anything on a starter at this point.
They were both taking some one-team reps today, Mike Wright, Chaston Ditta. Any specific news on like opt-outs or anything, or was it just more
nothing was brought up. I'd brought up just how big of an opportunity it is for some of these guys to jump in with people leaving, but he was the one line that he dropped was that we're focused on who's here and not who's not here, basically. And just focus on the locker room and who's in there, and don't worry about the outside stuff.
That must have been a shot at you and I, Stephen. We were not there, and Blake's really ticked off.
At least I went to the start practice. You did not.
That's true, dude. I would have had to leave at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
You went to the bullpen, and out came the scrub right-hander to cover the press conference today.
Well, not that he's a scrub right-hander, but you look like him.
He's not right-handed either.
No, that's true.
We do appreciate your commitment.
That's right.
Yeah, as an unofficial Hoist the Colors correspondent.
Twice this year.
Yeah, twice. Going to the press conference and feeling it allowed us to go live and get Brett on, so we appreciate that. And you'll also be in the Dean Dome tonight.
I will be.
For ECU UNC.
I will be.
So
it will not be pretty, I don't think.
You are wearing purple, correct? You're not.
Of course, I'm wearing
I'm
purple.
just making sure you're not one of those closet UNC basketball fans.
No, I do not wear anything, or don't own anything that color blue.
26.5 is the line.
It's free money. That's free money
on the hills.
Absolutely.
All right.
I would be shocked if this is not a 30-point game. I will be shocked. I hope I'm wrong. And if the Pirates win this tonight, it'll be amazing.
If ECU,
do we have a bet coming?
No.
Oh,
I was gonna say if ECU's pulling the upset, what has to go right? Everything.
Everybody on UNC's foot breaks or so, I don't know.
UNC. I mean, I said it Friday. It's a letdown spot, Scooter. You get the big win over Ohio State on Saturday. Short turnaround.
That's true.
They almost got caught with a look-ahead spot. They almost blew that game. They were up, 12? And they were like, let's look ahead to ECU, and almost snuck up and bit them. But it's just, it's been a tough year for ECU. I don't think the Pirates have much of a shot tonight.
No, I don't either. Obviously Schwartz brings up the injuries and stuff, but it was the same result before the injuries. If everybody knows it, I mean, it's frustrating. You have over $1 million in NIL funds, and the team is worse. You have more money, team's worse. Something obviously is not clicking there, whether it's just talent evaluating, coming in, coaching, whichever it is, something's not working. And I told somebody the other day, this is getting to the point where it's the Ricky Stokes years of terms of how bad the team is.
But hey, if he wins tonight, they'll build a statue.
That's right.
If you beat UNC on the road, Philip will help construct it, by the way. He will be one of the.
I have some family members that are in the construction business.
There you
and I will put you in touch with people who can construct it. And William Grover, our construction management major, will help. I will supervise.
He's good at supervising.
So that'll be an 8 o'clock tip-off?
8 o'clock tip-off.
Gosh, that's a late one. So, I don't know. Have you been on Twitter much the last few days? I've honestly tried to stay off due to the whole rhetoric of the college football playoff. It's just been nauseating to me to read. Although RG3, one of the few people on the Group of Five side, I don't know if
that shocked me.
Yeah.
I mean, much like you said, it's all been so negative towards the Group of Five. I mean, obviously, I don't think metric-wise, James Madison should have made it, but on this criteria, they were the next highest-ranked conference champion. So you had to let them in. And I mean, credit them; they held their own in that second half against Oregon. Obviously, first half was way out of line, but I was hoping the Tulane one would have been a lot closer than it was. But regardless, I think, as Philip said, there's going to be change. And that kind of came up today with Blake, and he went into, what kind of he would do with blow it up, basically, with everything. And he said, what are bowl games going to look like next year? Like, is this the last bowl game for East Carolina ever? Because the model's changing so much. Do we get rid of the military bowls, the Gasparilla bowls? Do we get rid of these bowls that don't really mean anything other than it's just an extra game and focus everything on a college football playoff?
It is a lot to digest and a lot of unknown going forward. So Cole saying Brett's point about modern college football being like the MLB financially is the perfect comparison.
Yep.
Yeah, it's some teams have a like no limit on what they can spend as well. So it's crazy, man. Crazy world. But speaking of, are the Braves going to be any good 2026?
Yeah, they've made a couple signings here. Alex Anthopoulos is still cheap and won't spend money, but they'll be better than they were last year. I still think they should have taken advantage of the opportunity to move Ozuna last year before the deadline. I'm on the train of moving Ozzy Albies right now just because move him while you can and get what he's worth while he's still kind of in his prime. As most saw last year, his defense started to decline a lot at the beginning of the year last year. It came back up, but I think there was a lot of opportunities they missed to move some people and get some prospects in there, especially knowing that you're pretty much out of the hunt at that point last year. But, hey, we'll see what happens in 26, and we get to see him in Williamsport for the Little League Classics. I'm jacked about that.
That'll be fun. Well, Scooter, we've appreciated your time.
That's right. I'm glad I showed up.
Since you
we'll
got
show
hosed
up tonight in Chapel Hill, too.
You going to come on at all tomorrow since you kind of got hosed today?
What's tomorrow? Tuesday? Yeah, possibly. See,
give us a report
see how long of a
Chapel
night
Hill.
it is in Chapel Hill tonight.
I'd say on your way back if you're
We can
driving.
get you over the phone.
Yeah.
If the Pirates win, you're doing the whole hour over the phone.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing.
Because I told Philip, if ECU beats UNC, we will dedicate at least 5 minutes of every show over the next 365 days to ECU beating UNC in basketball.
Don't give UNC fans fuel for that.
Look, they know they have no business losing this game.
Correct.
We'll see. Scooter, appreciate you. And thanks for going to practice.
Yeah.
Philip, thanks to you. Thanks to Brett Hickman and all of our commenters as well. We'll be back tomorrow again, 12 noon live